Hi there. I'm reviewing lingua.com. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry about that, but it's a website and app that we use for one of my internships. We use a lot of the material for intermediate English learners, and so far I am not the biggest fan. It's an okay website. Just because I feel like the materials sometimes are really good and sometimes they're horrible, and they just really lack in connecting and engaging students and motivate them, and that can be something not very fun when you're teaching a class and students are just tired of you talking, and it's not really your fault, it's the lessons, right? So here's a website. It is not free, but it does, to get the premium or the more lesson plans. You have to sign up and not pay too much, but you do get access to all of this. Reading, listening, audios, like dictation for you to write down, grammar check, practices, vocabulary. And vocabulary, you can, like, the really cool thing about the website is it has lots of different languages that you can use or learn from, and it's pretty interesting. And it's pretty cool that you can access all this stuff. So you have right here, it says 42 free texts, and then premium you get like 198, which is like triple the amount. You do need the premium to download certain things, but you can download any of these now as they are, and they come like this, little worksheets for you to do with your students. So that's really nice. But if you get the premium, this is an example from the internship that I'm in. This is what you get. So here we go. So let me just make sure I show you that this is the official. I usually have at the end. Oh, it doesn't have it this time. It usually says like the logo. So I wanted to show you so you know this is the material. But this is the material that you get from those premium accounts. For example, this one's week 7, Monday, Buy Nothing Movement. And most of them are kind of interesting. It talks about a lot of topics about um, um, controversial topics to like spark conversation, right? So what I do like is that they all follow the same structure. They start with a warm up, they go into vocabulary, we do a vocabulary practice, we do a reading, then we discuss, oh no, we do comprehension, then discussion, and then you have a wrap up and all done. So usually these lessons, when I've taught them, they take up to 45 to 50 minutes. But here's the thing, because I don't feel like they're very engaging many times, and students can give yes or no question answers, or yes, or their answers can be very limited. For example, this warm up, um, like this is a really good one because it has a lot of things, but I've seen some of them where the warm up is literally just a picture of a tree in a park, and the only things people can say are tree, park, grass, right? But in this one, you can say, oh, there's a Black Friday balloon, there's earphones, there's lots of people, it looks like they're shopping. That's really cool, right? That's what I really like about this website at times, but there's times where the pictures are not the best and they don't really engage the students, so the warm up takes a minute for, let's say, 5 students, or it can take 10 minutes because there's so many things and they can dissect it and keep going and talking, but that's not true every time. Um, the next thing is usually vocabulary. I really I dislike the vocabulary on the majority of them just because they're either terms that I feel like a lot of them already know or terms that we don't use in the day-to-day English speaking, which can be kind of upsetting because sometimes I'll be teaching a lesson and I'll explain something and then I'll have to tell them, oh, but we don't usually use this in English. So then it makes it seem like, oh, teacher, why are you teaching me this word if I'm not gonna use it on a day-to-day basis over there in the United States or in my office, and then you have to almost realize that, oh wow, they're right. This word like bombard is okay. There was one let me remember what word it was. Um It was like not check-in. It was like total sum or something. Like I've never heard a person say total sum. Um, it was like total sum, but it was spelled a little bit different, so it didn't really mean the total of something. It meant like a chunk of something, and um, I felt like that was really like I don't feel like this is a word you're gonna benefit from. I wish there was just a different word. But the words on this one are pretty good. Um, so the practices, I love, I love the fill in the blanks, but it gets repetitive when you do fill in the blanks every single day, and it seems like all the vocabulary practices, all of them are fill in the blanks, and that can be kind of upsetting for students because they get fast at it and they get really good at it, and it takes them seconds. They read it, you ask them to read it, and they're like, oh, to this word, blah blah blah. So I wish there was just a little bit of diversity. Oh, sorry about that. In the vocabulary practice, and then readings. This is what I dislike about the readings. It could be one page of this like really dense reading, or it can be like this. This is like 3-4 pages. We lose students. It's too much. It's too much. And then by the time you get to comprehension, they already forgot what was on page 1 because they're still trying to figure out what's on page 2 and 3. So yeah, not the best when it comes to reading and the vocab. Discussions are okay. Some of them are kind of repetitive, repetitive of things that we already talked about. And then um, I really dislike. Sorry about that. Most of the practices after the readings, practices of application of knowledge of what they learned. I really dislike them because it's like this: make a presentation about the Buy Nothing movement. If we're on Zoom, there's no way we're going to be able to do that. How are we going to make a whole presentation? We have 45 to 50 minutes to an hour. We have to teach the rest of the lesson, and now we have to sit down and make a presentation. It doesn't seem plausible at all to do, right? And also, these words that you just learned, I need you to apply them too. Like, that's too much. I think practices should be a lot simpler, maybe like writing sentences. And I understand, it really depends on sorry, the group of students, but this presentation should be like a whole week of it, right? Or multiple days, right? One day they practice it and they present it. It's too much to ask for any student to create a presentation, and the most you can give them probably is 10 minutes because you don't want to take away from the entire lesson just to focus on this one. And I just like that it's at the end, right? Because you're already probably running out of time, you're rushing, and then you have to what? Make a whole presentation. So I usually skip these and we do something else, but it's really practical. And then wrap up topics. It's okay. Sometimes they're like things that we already talked about. So then you get to the wrap up and you're like, oh, what are we gonna talk about? Because we already talked about. Talked about most of the things that we were talking about. So what did you think about the topic? And then most of them will say, oh, it was good. I liked it. Not sparking much conversation, which, like I said, I really dislike because a lot of the questions are like that. Um, we probably discuss, does this exist in your country? Why we probably discuss that? Because when you're explaining these topics to them, you probably ask, is there something like this where you're from or in your country, right? And then let's keep it. It just ends with good job. Let's look at this worksheet. So for this one, I love how it has a little reading and then you do understanding, right? Which is fine. It's fine. I just feel like it doesn't have very much motivation for students. It's very straightforward, fill it out next. And that's frustrating, I feel, just because it's either the student struggles to completely understand and to practice what you're asking them to do. Oh, I'm so sorry. Or they just fill it out and don't care. So I need this website to be so much more engaging and motivating. I feel like it's stuck in such an old mentality of English teaching, of teaching teaching the like grammar and basics of the language instead of teaching them how to communicate. I wish there was more engagement and more practice that was funner for students that um, that didn't seem like they were just doing worksheets and everyday stuff. Like I want something more engaging, like Duolingo. It like changes and shifts, and I just feel like this is such an older website, and if a teacher's not teaching it, then they can't really adjust. The student won't be able to adjust it because they don't know what to adjust to make it more engaging and fun. So yeah, like this one's pretty cute. I like it. It's they usually give you a reading. You'll listen to it. So I think you need premium to listen to it. So that's where it's kind of frustrating because if you have those really new beginning students, you will need premium just to access that. So that's a little frustrating. And then they have the questions and answer there. I do like that uh, it changes it has a difference in the normal English and the business English. More professional stuff, business calls, email writing, which is really interesting and good for especially if you're a teacher who maybe in a school setting is a very relaxed way of teaching English. But if you're like in a teaching English in a business school or you're teaching English in let's say an office, you have to be able to make that very professional. A certain they're coming for you for a certain thing. They want to be able to write, like I said, emails, phone calls, meetings, and stuff like that. So this is, I think the business side of this is really good, but like I said, the motivation is lacking when it's very like professional. They want to get it done. The website does excel, but when it comes to the more like free classroom stuff for a teacher to teach, it doesn't matter what grade or skill level, you want to have that engagement. So like I was saying, the website is lacking a lot of engagement, motivation, and just not understanding sometimes that a teacher can't teach certain things. Like we're talking about the presentation. It needs to be more practical and remember that teachers are teaching these lessons. So that's some of the things I dislike and like about this website, but it's overall a pretty decent thing. You can get free worksheets and stuff for your students, and maybe you're teaching different things, like Spanish to English or English to Spanish or another language. So it's cool that it has all these like different ways of teaching it to certain speakers, but you need the premium, and it's not interactive, and it's very worksheet based, and look like you can't access any of these, which are kind of sad. But yeah, not a decent website, not too horrible, but it is a very basic old mentality of TESOL teaching English, and it's not my favorite thing in the world to teach with, but I have made it work for myself. I've adapted it and added more stuff to it just because my students do get bored in a sense. So it's a decent website. I feel like it's a good way to start your lessons, but it's not a start or motivate your lessons, but it's not a good way to just grab something off a website and teach it. Because, like I said, it lacks in a lot of areas, and um, that could just be not the best thing for your students. So this was I still can't say it, lingua.com. This is my review. Thank you.